Hi there. Tonight on Fox News, our main topic is feminism. It's a really hot topic these days. People defend it, people are against it, and it's a really unclear and uncertain area of the social sciences today. Many people consider that what feminism became today, it's a degeneration of the main ideas of feminism, while some people say that it's the best thing to ever happen to humanity. In order to do this, I'm obviously not an expert in this, so I decided to invite two professionals on both sides of each of the spectrum. Our first guest tonight here is a representative from FemGo. He vehemently sustains the idea that equal rights shouldn't be just for women, it should be for everybody, regardless of the gender. And our second guest tonight, he's a representative of the Republican Party, who vehemently denies the role of feminism today and thinks that it should be modified in order to function in our society.
Hello everybody, my name is John Fitz and I'm the president of FemGo, which is an organization that focuses on promoting feminism. However, do not let the world itself scare you. We in FemGo stand for equal rights for both genders.
Hi, my name is Derek Rose. I am from the Republican Party named AFM, Anti-Feminism Move. It is basically a party based on moves against feminism in today's society.
So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my first guest tonight, Mr. John Fitz, who is the president of FemGo, which stands for equal rights for both men and women. And because he's a more experienced member of society in this category compared to me, I'd have to ask him the main theme and the question for tonight. How do you think feminism is perceived in today's society, in the 21st century, and in the Western world?
Well, my name is John Fitz, as mentioned. Before I answer that question, I would like to say that the goal of this debate is not to argue or, say that anti-feminists are bad, but rather to explain what feminism really means. And because some people have perceived it in a bad way in the past, and I feel like most people don't actually know what it means. And what we in FemGo stand for is equal rights for both genders, no matter if you're a man or a woman. You should both get the same opportunities, such as wages or different, such as wages. Yeah.
So basically support equality between both genders. So it's not like encouraging feminism more, like more power to women, but like equal power for both men and women, if I get it right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. There are thousands of scenarios where men are being mistreated. For example, why are fathers valued less by society when they are just as important as mothers? Or why do men fear to ask for help when they're in need? They're afraid that it would make them less manly or less macho. As mentioned by Emma Watson, there are just countries need to take responsibility and try to end gender inequality, because that is just what feminism is. Like, even though some people may think that it's about rights for women, it really is about equality, and that's what we stand for. Even though people on the street may say something else, we really want to get the same opportunities for men and women, for divorced couples, to schools, to wages, and if your main argument is based on the fact that it's feminism and it's got the word female in it, it really shouldn't matter whether it's equality or feminism. It's more about the acts and the behavior of the people rather than about the word itself. As you all might know, feminism isn't perceived in the best way possible, and this is why I would like to tell you what it really is by definition, and that is to believe that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. Right. This has been already mentioned by the UN ambassador Emma Watson when giving her speech at the UN, when she was launching her campaign for He for She, which basically stands for ending the gender inequality. Mm-hmm. The way that feminism is used in today's world is very misleading, and since almost 24 centuries ago, feminism strived to end gender inequality, but however, to this day, we still can't see one country that has achieved equality.
Alright, thank you very much. And now, after we heard the very strong argument from Mr. Fitz, I'd like to introduce our second guest tonight, Mr. Derek Rose, member of the Republican Party, who is strong against the current notion of feminism and what feminism he considers has become in today's society.
To answer your question, I would like to say that I will talk about the Eastern society and how feminism is perceived in the Middle East in today's society.
Controversial.
So basically, first of all, I would like to correct the statement from my colleague, Mr. Fitz, who said that feminism is defined as opportunities equal for men and women. I would like to correct it in my way. Basically, it's not only my way, it's the actual definition. So feminism is defined as women have equal right as men, which is the definition, which I find kind of discriminating against men, because the single fact that it starts with women, it means that men are submissive to women in this definition. I find it really disrespectful. As women say in today's society, we have, for example, the rape culture. How is that even real? Like, the definition of it is basically men sexually assaulting women. Lots of feminists claim that most of the men are rapists. I find it really ridiculous. Ridiculous, seriously. In a lot of videos of feminist protests, you can hear and see these statements about men. I mean, actually, I'm offended by that language spoken towards men. I just don't accept it.
So, what I got from your argument is basically that you consider that today's feminism is as women should be equal to men, but men shouldn't have all the rights that women have, basically.
Yeah, I would like to have an example. The problem today is that men are not equal to women as well, and women just don't talk about the problem. The problem which I'm talking about is that when there's a divorce, the court usually decides that the kids are sent to the care of the woman. I think that that is more important than the wage gap, which is not really even clear. I mean, women are complaining about the wage gap, which I think that is far least important than kids, that lives of the kids. That's seriously a big issue in today's society, that women talk only about their problems and not about men's problems. And I think that I believe in equal rights. I believe in it. But I don't believe in feminism. Feminism is is a logical theory, which is based against men. It wasn't like that in the past. In the past, it was totally understandable that women were feminists because they couldn't vote, which changed in 1920. But today, I don't think it's necessary in the Western culture, society. If I talk about the Eastern society, about Middle East, that is culture. Women are just seen in a different way. In Quran, it is written that a man is worth 2 women. That's just the culture. I don't really agree with it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
I find it a bit too much radical.
Yeah.
But it's a culture, and you can't break the culture. And actually, a week ago or something like that, happened that women can drive now in Saudi Arabia. I think that's a big move for the Middle Eastern society, and I think that's really, we should be thankful for that. And I would like to add another problem for men, women towards men, which is kind of confusing. Lots of feminists complain about almost every behavior of men. For example, they complain about how they sit in public transport.
Yes, manspreading.
Manspreading. I just don't agree with that. And I had another problem by myself, and I was somewhere on a program, and I said that I am not a feminist. A woman told me that that's ridiculous and that my opinion's wrong. I find that type of language very inappropriate, because telling someone that he's wrong, even though it is a opinion, that's just unacceptable.
You are entitled to your own opinion after all.
Yeah, thank you.
So basically, what I understand of what you're saying is that you believe that in Western society, feminism transformed from helping women into hating men, in an essence, basically.
That's exactly what I mean.
All right, and on the other hand, you consider that feminism, like in, for example, in the Middle East, where Islam is very radical and like they objectify and like treat women in a way that's for us Westerners is inconceivable. That there's a huge need for feminism there, but it's gonna happen naturally, like gradually to the foreseeable future, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's my opinion.
So after hearing those very strong and partly emotional arguments from the Republican side, I'd wish to ask you, how could you counterattack those arguments if that was your goal?
I mean, as I already mentioned, I'm not here to argue, but I'm here to inform people about feminism in general. Mr. Rose said some pretty strong arguments, but as you mentioned, they were emotional, so, emotional bias was included. I am very objective in the case of feminism, and therefore, he mentioned the example of divorce, but that's not really a good example, because children aged 12 or more do get the choice whether they stay with their mom or their dad, and if you're younger than that age, you still get a vote, but it's not definitive.
So lastly, I'd like to thank both my guests for coming tonight and helping us understand and giving us a better depiction from different points of view of feminism in the 21st century in our society. Some considering it as a misinterpretation of the original ideas of feminism, and some considering it to be necessary in today's society and actually helpful for the progression of society. So in the end, I like to address the audience and say, regardless of your point of view, it is really important to stand by it and to make your opinion heard in the world.